All right, everybody. Good afternoon. You guys know what it's all about. You guys know what time it is. We got to do the snap counts. We got to do snap count Monday. And this is definitely a series where, even in the worst of times, you can find some things that are interesting and maybe even encouraging. So it's not a bad thing to talk about, right? It's something that can kind of separate you away from just the fact that the team is not playing very well right now and they're losing games. So we're going to take a look at the snap counts on offense first. You guys know what this is. Basically, it's just how much are the players getting on the field? What are the rotations like? Who's the guys who we really trust? Who's the guys who are producing? You guys know the drill. Uh, if you like this video, please click the like button down below. Helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. We're posting 3 to 5 videos a day about Seahawk stuff pretty much. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to help support the channel. Okay. So let's start with the offense here. 80 offensive snaps. 80. That's actually really good, right? Like, you would normally look at that and go, hey, something went right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you. It's not a big surplus. It was just a game where there were a lot of plays, period. But 80 plays on offense is usually going to be a winning formula. But the fact that we still couldn't run the ball effectively, and the fact that we had 3 turnovers, means that it's hard to really say that the game was actually an effective one by the offense. All right. So running back first, obviously K9 takes the lead here now that he's basically 100%. 61 snaps to Charbonnet's 20, which, I mean, that's probably a little bit of an excessive imbalance. I don't know if I think it should be that slanted in favor of Walker. I know Charbonnet doesn't run effectively at all behind this line, and Walker's at least passable. But at the same time, it's not like Walker's playing that well. Like, his production in this game was very, very inefficient. And a guy like Charbonnet, who's a better pass protector and a better receiver out of the backfield, I don't know if this is the imbalance that you're looking for. And nothing for anybody else, of course, because Kenny McIntosh just, I don't know what to say anymore. There is zero trust in him to do anything meaningful in a game. I know part of the reason is because we really like our top 2 guys, Walker and Charbonnet, but man, we can't get McIntosh 5 snaps throughout a game. Just kind of surprising to me. That's it for the running backs. Wide receivers basically went as expected. We had Lockett and JSN playing a majority of the game, almost 90% of the snaps. After those 2 guys, we mixed it up between Bobo and Cody White. And I think that the Bobo hype train has officially died. He basically did nothing in that game. He was on the field for 42 snaps, and he may as well have been a random guy we signed off the street before the game started for all the impact that he had. He just can't get open reliably. There are some things that he does that are good. There are some things he does that bring value to the team, but he's just a guy. And Cody White, a guy who, to my knowledge, had never significantly who had never really done anything in the NFL before yesterday, was a significantly more impactful player in that game than Jake Bobo. So I think we have to just accept that Bobo is a number 4 receiver in this league. That's what he is. And when you try to make him more than that, you're not going to be happy with the results because he just can't produce at the level that you need a top 3 receiver to do. And when I say top 3, by the way, I mean top 3 on his team. He's a number 4 guy. He comes in situationally, he run blocks, he provides a little bit of value as a big receiver, but you're not going to get big production out of the dude. You're just not. Chenault, 3 snaps. So again, we just don't think that much of his ability to contribute to the offense, I guess. His workload doesn't go up in the slightest with Metcalf out. Like, that tells you that there are just big chunks of the playbook he must have no grasp of, or we just don't think he can do these things well at all. And it's very surprising to me that Ryan Grubb wouldn't look at Chenault's skill set and say, I need that a little more right now because we don't have Metcalf. But he has said it multiple times now with the snap counts. He's played 10 total snaps over our last 2 games with no DK. And Derek Young gets 6 snaps to round it out. So, I mean, Cody White's the guy, I guess. He actually made big plays in this game. He did some really good stuff. Happy for him. It was a really, really needed game from him, and it nearly ended up dragging us to a win. Okay, tight end, very simple. AJ Barner basically played the whole game. 73 snaps. Pharaoh Brown picks up the kind of the garbage left over with 7. And then Brady Russell gets 9, but he's mostly playing fullback. And you can see we were basically playing 1 tight end the whole game. I think the only times we went 2 tight end in this game were the jumbo sets. And I don't know what to think of that. My gut tells me it's probably not a great idea when your offensive line's playing that poorly, right? Like, Barner plus Brown equals 80. And then you have Brady Russell, who, again, lines up at fullback a lot when he does get on the field. So, I don't know about this, man. This surprises me. I knew A.J. Barner played a vast majority of that game, and I thought A.J. Barner played a pretty decent game. He had 1 drop that didn't matter that much. But, man, Pharaoh Brown, what a bust. Like, that is the kind of stuff that happens in free agency that kills you, where you sign a guy, it's just $3.1 million. It's not that big of a deal, but then you get nothing from him. And that kind of garbage just adds up. Really annoying. Offensive line, pretty simple this week. Frost, Tomlinson, Williams, Bradford all played the whole game. And they played maybe their worst game of the year, by the way. And I got to give a special shout out to Bradford, who finally got out of the rotation business. Didn't have to share snaps with Haynes at all. And proceeded to play really, really poorly. So I was hoping that not doing the dumb rotation would help. It did not. That's a pretty damning indictment, I think. Oluwatimi played 1 snap in the jumbo package. George Fant got injured after 17 snaps. He got injured after 13 snaps in week 1. So I don't know. I guess his body's just broken down, and that guy needs to be out of here yesterday. Mike Gerald gets the rest of the snaps, 63, and he plays terribly as well. So, I mean, maybe that swings the game if Fant's out there instead of Gerald, but I mean, you can't depend on you can't depend on Fant. Hopefully next week or next game we'll be able to depend on Abe Lucas, but can't depend on Gerald. Can't depend on Fant. None of these guys worth anything. All right, defense, 77 total snaps. That's what I mean. See what I mean? Not a big surplus. 3 snap surplus. So the defense is on the field constantly still. In fact, 77 is a season high. So not really good. I will say that the turnover deficit obviously plays into this big time. So it's not necessarily all the defense's fault. But 77 plays is still not where you want to be. And you look at the defensive line, I don't think our rotations are bad. Leonard Williams plays almost 60 snaps. He should be getting a big workload. He's the big money guy. And then Murphy and Reed get about 40, 45 snaps each. That's okay. I'm not against that. I don't think that's a bad set, especially in a game where you play 77 snaps. Morris doesn't play at all. Morris is... We have a pretty decent-sized list of guys who were not big-time players going into this season, but were a little bit interesting, that I wanted to see if the new coaches could develop. None of those guys have really developed. Mike Morris is a great example. Kenny McIntosh is a great example. They just don't play them at all. And when they do play, they don't really do anything. And it's really discouraging to see this new regime is completely unable to get anything out of these young, not necessarily super talented, but somewhat intriguing players. And it's just nothing. Morris is a great example of that. This is a guy who played under McDonald at Michigan, and it's just nothing. Adams also didn't play. Hankins, 25 snaps, and you can see him just running out of gas. He's just giving the little bit that he can. I think that 25 snaps in a 77-snap game is probably where you want to be with Hankins at this point. That's the point where he can actually make some positive contributions, potentially, so I'm not against it. And Roy Robertson Harris gets 26 snaps, which... that's probably about what you should be looking at for the rest of the season in terms of his workload in a game like this. 30 to 35% of the snaps. So not against the defensive line rotation. Linebackers, really easy. Jones plays every snap. Dodson plays every snap. Nobody else plays at all. Edge rusher, Boye Mafe, 52. Derek Hall, 56. Not bad, right? That's not excessive. That's not anything that I look at and get super alarmed by. We played overtime, right? There were 77 plays. 50 to 55 snaps for your top two edge rushers is totally reasonable. It is worth noting that Draymond Jones, after playing his best game as a Seahawk against the Atlanta Falcons, has now seen his workload cut significantly, culminating in this game where he played 24 snaps out of 77. So he is being phased out. The coaches see the same things that we see, I guess, where he's just not that effective. He's just not getting it done. And in a game where you don't have Uchenna Nwosu, right? Uchenna Nwosu is out. And it's not like you're leaning on your depth guys, right? You're not putting Mike Morris at big edge. You're not putting Roy Robertson Harris out there as a big edge. You just say, okay, Draymond Jones, you're getting sorted snaps here and there, but you're not a featured part of what we're doing. Like, that's pretty damning, and it says that he'll be out of here after the season's over. Gibson and Bowser, of course, nothing. Cornerback, pretty easy. Witherspoon, all the snaps. Woolen, all the snaps. Trey Brown has basically been benched. I guess we're done with him. I'm surprised. I don't know if I like it. We're playing Josh Joby pretty much exclusively in place of Trey Brown. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a huge difference between the two, but I think Trey Brown has a higher ceiling. I think Trey Brown has more potential to do things. I'm surprised. They must see something they really don't like with him because he has basically been scratched. And Joby plays 49 snaps, so it's a big sample. You're telling me Trey Brown can't get a couple of snaps out of that 49 you gave to Joby? If the fact that he can't tells me that we're probably just done with him. Maybe we're going to trade him in the next 24 hours. But yeah, that catches me off guard a little bit because I know Joby has played good against the Falcons and he had the pick on Josh Allen, but it's not like he's really playing good. I don't think you can say he's playing good overall, especially in this most recent game. He was just out there, basically. Safety, Julian Love and Kobe Bryant play every snap. Kayvon Wallace picks up 10 snaps, and by the way, that guy's a big disappointment, I think. There was so much preseason hype around Kayvon Wallace, and we're not getting good play out of him. The fact that he can't step up and play a little bit more meaningfully with Rayshon out is pretty disappointing. And that's it for Snap Count Monday, guys. So it's not bad here necessarily. A lot of this stuff I think is understandable and reasonable and maybe even good. It just isn't resulting in wins right now. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming later. Let me know what you think. That is Snap Count Monday.